The biggest lobster in the world has been discovered, Aegirocassis Benmoulae. This creature existed 480 million years ago, and at the time was the largest creature in the world.
Look, 7 feet long might not seem like much, but at the time it was twice the size of any other creature.
Scientists had been finding fossilized bits and pieces of relatives of this type of creature, now known as anomalocaridids, for decades, but couldn't make total sense of what they were dealing with. Then in 1985, a group of researchers figured out that the parts they had thought belonged to several different species all belonged to a single group, the anomalocaridids.
Anomalocaridids are large sea creatures that are the ancestors to all arthropods. Arthropods are a category of animal that include creatures like lobsters and crabs, to ants. Still, people couldn't completely figure out these anomalocaridids. It took almost another 10 years before they were even recognized as arthropods.
In 2011, things started making sense. Prior to then, paleontologists thought that what is now known as Aegirocassis Benmoulae was a predatory animal, like the majority of anomalocaridids.
Then a local fossil collector in Morocco, Mohamed Ben Moula, discovered a fossilized appendage anatomically located near Aegirocassis Benmoulae's mouth that proved it was a filter feeder, meaning it just scooped up smaller sources of food with its mouth filter as it swam along, which was huge news to the paleontologist community.
Scientists were so happy with Mohamed Ben Moula's discovery that they named the species after him, Aegirocassis Benmoulae. At the time of this creature, new species of plankton were emerging, and as a response, this creature emerged as a large plankton-eating anomalocaridid. It went from predator to plankton eater.
This filter-feeding evolutionary adaptation later occurred in whales and some sharks, but Aegirocassis Benmoulae is the oldest example of this adaptation. This species also had 2 sets of ventral flaps on their backs that explain how crustaceans like shrimp and lobster ended up having limbs that have 2 branches. These branches are involved in everything from gas exchange to swimming, walking, and grasping, and transferring sperm.
So thank you to Moroccan Mohamed Ben Moula for discovering the fossil evidence that has allowed scientists to fill in the missing gaps in their research after all these years.